Hello, my name is Mike. Hey, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing Seeking Sister Wives Season 4, Episode 2. We pick up right where we left off with Danielle and Garrett calling Roberta. After they picked up Leah from the airport, when they had decided to call Roberta. Leah and Roberta do not really get along. In my opinion, it's because Roberta is no longer the trophy and she's upset about that. It really makes the situation worse. Danielle is adding another wife out of spite, and Garrett just wants them as trophies so he can line them up and make them look all pretty like dolls. I'm not calling the women trophies, I just think that's how Garrett sees them. But once they get to the place they're gonna be staying for the next couple of days, Leah goes and changes into some more comfortable clothes and they all sit down and FaceTime Roberta. A little recap while Roberta isn't in the States. She did get approved for her fiance visa, but her mother is sick and she wants to be there for her. Like I said earlier, Leah and Roberta are not very fond of each other, but Leah's playing out like a team player and is putting on a nice face for the call because she feels like Roberta has no interest in getting to know her as a sister wife. I don't really know what the dynamic really should be, but that's what she says. And I guess it's supposed to be like a friendship type of thing. So I guess imagine trying to have a friend and they just have no interest in being your friend. I guess that's how it kind of is. Leah's unsure if she's being like that because of the language barrier or Roberta just has no genuine interest in wanting to form a relationship. I don't think it's a language barrier, to be completely honest, because I think Roberta picks and chooses what she wants to hear and what she wants to respond to. I mean, to some extent there's a language barrier, but then also she's putting an effort to talk to Garrett but not to Leah, so I can understand how Leah would feel that way. In the confession with Danielle and Garrett, they talk about how Roberta is jealous, and that's really it. And I found that funny because the whole scene, Danielle seems happy that Roberta is jealous. I don't like in a revenge way, you could say. I know she's doing this out of spite, but it seems like she's trying to prove she's not doing it out of spite. But if she wasn't doing it out of spite, why wouldn't she be supporting Roberta, calling her, telling her that it's okay? But no, she's just saying, oh, she's jealous, and just keeps saying that like she's happy about it. I mean, she is at this point. She has to be. No, I'm not a sister wife, but I think any good sister wife would support one another, in my opinion. Pretty sure I heard someone say that before, so I don't think it's too far from the truth. They also talk about how Roberta is calm and Leah is like a full 180, which I'm not sure what they're talking about because through the whole episode, between this episode and last episode, Leah has been pretty calm in my opinion. She hasn't done anything rowdy, outrageous. She just seems like a normal person, so I have no idea what they meant by that. I've known her for 2 episodes and they seem to know her for way longer, so I'm not going to jump to any conclusions about it. They finally get ready to call Roberta all together, but that's when we stop with them and get introduced to a new family from Orlando, Florida, Karen, India, and Marcus. They've been living a polygamous lifestyle about 2 years now, and he met his first wife while they were both in college, sleeping with one of her best friends. Then he saw a picture of her on her wall. He said 5 months later, she gave him her virginity. There were so many better ways to put that. They could have said 5 months later they started dating, 5 months later they decided to take things further. They could have said anything other than what he said, and it's just so gross in my opinion. For a living, he's like an elective official in his like hometown of Ohio. I'm not sure which town he's from, just somewhere in Ohio. I was still stunned from like the whole virginity thing. Anyways, he has to travel back and forth between Ohio and Florida, especially in the winter because I believe his family stays in Florida during the winter. That makes sense because I don't think it snows in Florida, well, at least in the part of Florida they stay in, and I think in Ohio it snows, so why go to cold weather when you can stay in warm weather? Not only is it hard to travel back and forth, a lot of people judge him for the lifestyle he chooses to live. A lot of people see it as wrong, which in my opinion it's not necessarily wrong. I just don't see how everybody's gaining something in just not one person, but also I'm not the one who has to live it, so I shouldn't be able to dictate how it works either. But anyways, Taryn and Marcus have been together for 11 years and he started cheating on her and was dating 5 to 10 women at a time. Taryn didn't like that and she's not supposed to because you're literally married to her, you committed to her, you said vows to her. Of course she's not supposed to be okay with it. Like, you are in a monogamous relationship, meaning it's just the 2 of y'all and not anybody else. I'm not sure what's hard to get about that. I'm not gonna rant about him. Taryn had moved out with their daughter for a little bit just to regroup herself. He said so she can see if she can do it without him. She said just time to heal. I think it was time to heal. because Marcus is the type of person that you really don't need in your life. He adds unnecessary stress and unnecessary problems, so she definitely could have done it without him, in my opinion. And I feel like he's delusional. I know this is the first episode we're just getting introduced to him, but I feel it already, and maybe it's because I review Unexpected and I see a lot of delusional characters on TV, but this one is just too much. Anyways, but while they're separated, he ended up meeting India, his second wife, and started forming a relationship with her. They met somewhere downtown and just end up kicking it off. And she says that Marcus is her type of guy. She says that she doesn't like tall guys. I feel like she's just saying that so she doesn't make him feel bad, because that was honestly unnecessary in my opinion. She could have said she liked the way he looked. She could have said she liked bald men. I don't know. That was just something random. And I don't understand the obsession with height. Kind of odd to me. I'm not even gonna lie. But anyways, Taryn and India did not know about each other. And when they separated, Taryn and Marcus never agreed to go date other partners. They were still in a marriage and were somewhat still together, just separated. Taryn was not going for it at all. Not that anyone really should be, because that was never a part of the agreement. If anything, this should have been a sign for her just to let this go, but nope, she chose to hold on. And Marcus says he was stuck in the middle because he wanted India and Taryn, and this is what I mean, glorified cheating. Maybe the other ones cover it up better, but this is just blamed out. He gets to eat his cake and have theirs too. Marcus truly creeps me out. I don't mean to be judgmental towards him. It's just so odd. It really doesn't make any sense to me how both of these women just agreed to it. I'm not sure what manipulation he has to use to get them agreed to. I don't know. Marcus just creeps me out. Anyways, Marcus ended up coming with a polygamous relationship to them, and they both agreed to, and now they're just one big happy family, I guess. At first, Taryn wasn't really for it, but then she eventually came around to it. I'm not sure whether India was for it or not, but I think she was, because she's obviously in it. Like I said earlier, Taryn and Marcus have one daughter together, and Marcus has a son that lives with them. So I believe Marcus probably cheated on Taryn a lot earlier in their relationship, and his son resulted from it. So he's kind of always been this way. And I guess that last time was her final straw. Well, it really wasn't for her final straw, because she's obviously back with him. Pretty sure he'll find a way to cheat in this polygamous relationship as well. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm pretty sure there is a way you can cheat in a polygamous relationship. But anyways, their son's friend also lives with them as well. He brings all the kids downstairs to talk about them adding a third wife. I forgot her name, but they've known each other for 13 years. She saw their family on social media, and she said she wanted to be a part of it, so their relationship bloomed from there. Basically just asks, are the kids okay with it? And the kids are okay with it. That's something I do appreciate about these polygamous relationships, is that they do take their children's feelings into consideration before they add third wife or fourth wife or whatever. They see how their children feel about it. They are worried to make it a little crowded, but since it's already crowded, that really is already an existing issue, so there's nothing to really worry about there, and everybody's fine with it for the most part. They do want to make sure it's right for their dynamic and make sure it doesn't mess up the dynamic that they already have. So move on to Brenda and Steve. They are building a new house, and when they're going to the new house, when Brenda gets out the car, she calls Steve daddy. I threw up in my mouth a little bit, I'm not even gonna lie. That was uncalled for and just gross. Anyways, they decided to build a house because when COVID hit, it gave them an opportunity to live in the country away from the city, because I believe they originally used to live in Dallas. So they had the opportunity to, and they like living in the middle of nowhere. I personally wouldn't, because if the nearest McDonald's is 45 minutes away, then it's a no for me. Random restaurant, but if a McDonald's or some type of restaurant, Dollar General isn't a minimum 5 minutes away, then I don't want to live there. That is just me personally. Anyways, they decided to be building the house. They haven't told April about it yet, because they're not exactly ready to ask her to move in and get that far in their relationship yet. They also want to build their relationship, especially with Brenda and April, just because the relationship and the communication isn't exactly where it needs to be. Then also, Brenda knows how hard it is coming into an already established relationship. She was once in that position, and she's just hoping she can gain a good relationship with April out of it. Next, we move on to Nick, Jennifer, and April. Nick is still on his stay with Danielle, and Danielle and him are talking about how she's gonna have to sacrifice certain stuff to be in a player relationship, especially the stigma around it. I wonder what exactly she's gonna have to sacrifice. That's my question. Her career, her education, her family, her friends, what? I wish she would have put a little more emphasis on that. In the confession with Danielle, she said she really never imagined her 22-year-old self being in a polygamous relationship. She imagined college roommates, just doing normal 22-year-old stuff. So far, Danielle is being pretty understanding of the whole situation. I'm not sure that's rather because of her naiveness or she's just an understanding person. And she talks about how her relationship with Jennifer and April is just as important as the relationship with Nick. And Nick even says at times it can be more important than their relationship. It's just going to be a big adjustment, especially since Nick likes attention. He may feel like the attention is on him and he may get jealous about it, and she may feel that way, especially with them being in a polygamous relationship and he having to devote his energy to his other wives as well. Nick wants to be able to make sure that Danielle is going to handle the situation well with jealousy, because jealousy is common in a polygamous relationship, especially where there's multiple wives and just not 2 or 3. There could be 6. There's going to be jealousy. So he's wondering how she'll handle a situation like that, and he's hoping she handles it well because he really likes her. But Danielle is optimistic and happy about the whole situation and seeing how it's going to go. And Nick takes Danielle back home so he can have sex with her, and April and Jennifer are some reason really happy about it. I don't know whether they love it or hate it, but they give Danielle and Nick their space and they go sleep in the spare bedroom tonight so Danielle and Nick can have sex. What's even more odd about the whole situation is that while they were welcoming each other, Nick was kissing all of them in the mouth. I wonder, do they taste each other's spit? I know that sounds gross and nasty, but it's a true wonder of mine. Because I don't know, I just find it weird that he kisses them all one another. I guess that's the only way to be fair, but it's still odd to me. Then we move back around to Brenda, Steve, and April, and they're all going to a winery to have quality time together. Really just to get to know each other better. And April and Steve have already had sex because they really don't have any rules regarding to that. I don't think they've been in a relationship long enough to have any rules regarding to that. I mean, they've been in a relationship long enough, but I'm not sure if they've been seeking another wife long enough to really have rules, if that makes sense. It doesn't help because Brenda doesn't seem comfortable with that, and I honestly think she's intimidated by April, but she's trying to put on the best face that she can. And going back to the scene, after some wine tasting and eating some cheese, they all three decided to go outside and look at the sunset. After walking for a little bit, Brenda got really cold and she decided to go back inside and continue wine tasting and eating cheese. Now it's just April and Steve, and they're touching on each other, making out, and just being really close with each other. It kind of grosses me out because I think that April could be Brenda's and Steve's child. Maybe this is just me, not only the age gap, but I feel like April is like a mix of both of them. Maybe that's just me, because if I were to see them out in public, I would think those are parents with their daughter. But that's not the point of this. Going to the confessional with Brenda and Steve, Steve says he loves April, and Brenda has like this weird face on it, like she did not like to hear that. That's why I say she's intimidated by April, because she's afraid that Steve won't love her and he'll grow old of her. Which she's even said that's one of her fears, and I believe it is going to happen at some point sooner or later. She also put herself in this situation, so I feel like maybe she expected it, but she really can't be that mad at it, in my opinion, because you signed up for it and you should have known what you're gonna sign up for. Especially with someone like Steve. She may not see it because that's her husband, but Steve is really creepy, and he's one of these people who see women as objects. You're no longer fun, you get thrown in the bin and you go on to the next toy. But lastly, we switch to Danielle and Garrett, and they're still in Los Angeles, and they finally decide to call Roberta. I have no idea why it took them so long. They could have fitted that in the first segment, in my opinion, but going to the scene. They call Roberta and they're saying hi, but there's a language barrier, like I said earlier in the video, because Roberta speaks Portuguese and of course they speak English, and they really haven't taken the time to learn each other's languages, and they know simple catchphrases and stuff like that. Like hi, how are you, not even how are you, but you get my point. And they use a translator majority of the time because, like I said, they can't understand each other. I wonder why neither of them are like bothering to learn each other's languages, because that would make it a lot easier instead of having to pull out a translator every time you want to say I love you or how are you. Like, that's why I say he sees them as objects. He's not even putting effort forward to learn Roberta's language, and Roberta should be putting effort forward to learn English since she plans on moving to the US, but I don't mean to rant about it. My point is that they both should be putting effort forward so they can move forward in their relationship. And I don't know if either of them are really serious about it. I mean, they have to be to some extent, but also there's just certain things I feel like they should be putting effort forward if they really want to make their relationship work. Anyways, I did not mean to rant about that. Brenda said hi to Leah and Danielle, but the conversation never went further than that because of course the language barrier. So she's really just talking to Garrett, saying, I love you, I miss you, the simple words that they both can understand. And as she's saying these things, she starts to get emotional, then Garrett starts to get emotional. So Leah and Danielle give them space and they go outside and they talk about how Leah's not sure Roberta is willing to put effort towards a relationship with them and if she really cares at all in general. This whole conversation, Danielle is just smiling because I believe it warms her heart that there's jealousy between Roberta and Leah, because like I said in the last video and this video, Danielle is doing this to get revenge, and that's the only reason why. They basically just talk about how they're worried about Roberta and she's gonna get jealous, and if the relationship between Leah and Garrett can work, if Roberta's dealing with jealousy. And to be honest, I don't really know, because I do believe Garrett is gonna pick Roberta over Leah any day, in my opinion, just because he still sees her as a trophy, just not as the most valuable trophy at the moment. It's Leah, because he has more access to her, and right now he doesn't have access to Roberta. And I believe Leah and Danielle will be in the exact same place if Roberta comes to the States. I don't think Leah's gonna get jealous. I think she will move herself out of the situation before it gets that far. So not the jealousy part, but no longer being the trophy part. That's what I mean. Maybe another reason why Danielle wanted to add a third wife, she wanted someone else to be in the struggle with her, rather it be Leah or Roberta. She just wants someone else to struggle with. And Danielle is the problem, but also the root of the problem is Garrett at the end of the day. So I'm not gonna go in on Danielle, but then also at the same time, what she's doing is not right, and it's just as wrong what Garrett's doing, in my opinion. Speaking of Garrett, I was in Reddit and someone said he looked like he was on drugs. Maybe I wasn't paying attention hard enough, but was he? I don't know. I'm on Reddit a lot when it comes to these shows, just so I can keep up a little better. And I wonder, was he on some type of CBD or whatever just made him react that way when he was crying on the phone with Roberta? Because when they were crying, it was really nothing to really cry about. I'm not really sure why. But I guess also they don't FaceTime a lot because their service isn't always good. So that could have been the reason. But do they not call each other, talk to each other? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm not going to turn this video to conspiracy theory about Garrett. Anyways, yeah, that was the end of the episode. I give it a good 7 out of 10. We still are not done with all the introductions, which that makes me wonder how many more introductions are there. And it was a little stretched out, with the Roberta scene and all of that. But it's still a good episode. Comment, subscribe if you want, and bye.